What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode with your boy Phrankleen. Right, today we're going to look into the topic the broke and worthless. Okay, basically it looks into how men who are yet to, or let me say brothers who are yet to make it, who are still struggling monetarily and stuff, who've got goals, but at the present time they're not financially buoyant and stuff, and how they're treated by women. And is it fair? Is it acceptable? So, but before I crack on, this episode is sponsored by SendWave. SendWave used to be known as Wave app, but they recently rebranded. So you can basically send money to Africa from the UK, the US, and Canada. And at the time of filming this, with the SendWave app, you can send money to Nigeria, Kenya, Ghana, Tanzania, and Uganda. Now, if you use my name, Phrankleen, as it's spelled on the screen and on my channel, Phrankleen, you get £10 or $10 off your first transaction for using the SendWave app, which is fantastic. Okay, now your first transaction, if you've never used it before, if you've never signed up, it's dead easy. You go into the Google Play Store, or into if you're an Android user, and if you've got an iPhone, you go into the Apple Store and just look for the SendWave and then download it. It's within the 2 shakes of a duck's tail. You can register and download and follow the instructions on how to register and set up your account. And the beautiful thing is there isn't any additional commissions, unlike some of the high street competitors. It's dead easy. You can send your money within the 2 shakes of a duck's tail, within the comfort of your home, comfort of your office, whilst you're lying in bed, and the transaction will be confirmed right there in your app as soon as it's been sent to the relevant destination or bank account. So why don't you crack on, go and download the SendWave app today and use the Phrankleen promo code to get your £10 or $10 off your first transaction. That's a sizable amount of bonus that's being given out by this fantastic company. Right, so let's crack on with the topic of the day. Okay, I've had a few emails, and recently I had a gentleman that sent me an email talking about how he loved this lady. He was in a relationship with her, and she basically dumped him in the middle of nowhere, abruptly dumped him pretty much. So his emotions was shattered to smithereens, and this is quite common. We also live in a society where there is a stereotypically generated perception of us men, whereby you're expected to not show emotions, you're expected to just chin up and keep it moving, you're expected not to be emotionally broken, which is in fact a lie. There's a myth that have been spread across, impressed on people's minds. So many, just like men are not exactly expected to report domestic violence. Meanwhile, there's a number of men, growing number of men actually, who are victims of violence. Now, this gentleman recently sent me an email talking about how he was dating this lady, and he believed they had a promising relationship. He said he was earning. They're based in Ghana, so he was earning, but salary wasn't all that great, but he believed he has a promising future and all that stuff. And he said, in fact, he got to know her parents, and he was a hardworking brother. He had plans to start a business, but as you know, everything is a step in time. And you plan, and even if you want a business, want to start or commence, the running of a business, you just cannot do it overnight. There's a gradual process to everything. So long and short, I suspect the lady in question, excuse me, wasn't, should I say, patient enough or ready, because as far as she was concerned, he hasn't got the resources. And then the idea of, oh, you haven't got anything to take care of me, you haven't got any money to take care of me and all that stuff, or you cannot afford me, blah blah blah. She abruptly dumped this brother and then went with someone else who was a lot more affluential, so left him emotionally shattered and all that stuff. And then there's another one. I read this story to you very, very quickly. that somebody forwarded to me. My girlfriend left me for a bank manager in 2005. I had a job when we met and resigned to pursue a business that was going to land me, my millions. But government cancelled the contract, unfortunately, after 2 weeks of operations, and the downside started. I had spent all my savings lobbying the ban to be lifted till I became, absolutely broke. And that was when my girlfriend, decided to walk out on me, claiming that, I had no money and stuff, and she couldn't carry on with the fact that I was, I was broke. She came to my house, looked around, rolled her eyes, and called me empty barrel. And alas, that was it for me, as I was so down. Then I'd lost confidence and all the confidence in me as a man, that made me a smart and upright person and stuff like that. I turned to God, for there was nowhere else to go, and started my life all over again. I met my wife, who was the love of my life, 3 years later, and the rest is history. So I'm guessing it turned out fantastic for this gentleman, which is great. As for the girl that left me, and never bothered what came out of her life and stuff, which is no longer my business. But I saw the bank manager that she left me for some years after, and he was flat broke, and let me just say, broken and looking tattered. He had lost his job and stuff. Well, I'm glad, my own concern is I'm glad, life turned out positive for you and stuff. But to go back to my point, the concern that I have is, first of all, I'll acknowledge the fact that usually when two people cohabit and claim to amalgamate their feelings and come together to say, okay, we'll find a common ground and we'll coexist, we'll cohabit as partners, as lovers, whatever. As far as I'm concerned, in the traditional sense of things, there must be love, right? There must be some sense of attraction. You admire that person. This amount of love is good enough to start with, then, trust and all that stuff come thereafter as you grow together and stuff. But what really amazed me is the culture, the gold digging culture. The culture where it's very convenient being the objective word for, I'd say, some women, because I know there are some women who are watching this who are not that type of, who don't fall under the category of those type of women. So it'll be wrong for me to say women do this, because that would be a blanket approach, right? So some women or some ladies would look at a man and his current situation. First of all, you're not getting with me. It's almost as if you're doing somebody a favor, because what I see now is there is no genuine love, there is no affection, there is no trueness. People get with people because of what they want, and this is why I always say, however smart or clever you think you are, some way, someday, somehow, somewhere down the line, you're gonna get exposed. Because it's like when you get with someone and the foundation is deeply rooted in falsehood, deception, manipulation, you're gonna get exposed. Sooner or later, you will get exposed, because the falsehood would definitely be exposed at some point. You'll be seen for who you really are. Now, I want to put a disclaimer. I have a huge amount of respect for people's choices, okay? You're within your rights. If you meet a guy for whatever reasons and you think, okay, this person, maybe this person wouldn't do it for me, doesn't tick the boxes for me, or maybe they're too broke for you. Okay, fair enough. I can accept that. But the bit that infuriates me as a dude is beating someone else down and saying they are good for nothing, they are worthless, they're never to do well type, and you believe you earn the right to basically compress somebody's life and their future. So because of where I am today, you believe I would never amount to anything, I'd never make it. Now, let's be clear. If somebody's evidently a bum, evidently in the sense that a lazy bone, that evidently, clearly, even a 5-year-old child can tell that this person has zero aspirations. He or she's not trying to, or let me say, he's not trying to get better, maybe academically or business-wise or career-wise or whatever. He's a leech that's just feeding off you and just a bum, always blaming everybody else except himself, just lying about, just wanting to get between your legs. And you run away from that kind of person. Very rightly so. Okay? But I'm talking about the category of women who laser target their focus on the amount of money that a man has got to then use as a yardstick to relate to or with that person. Oh, he hasn't got money. He hasn't got, and 9 out of 10 times, people like that, I always want to ask, what are you bringing to the table? Now, some might argue, oh, I've got my own job and stuff. But there is also the toxic type of women who, because they happen to be earning and stuff, they get very rude, they get very arrogant, they believe it's a ticket to look down on the man and trash him and walk all over him. And you sit with your girlfriends or your family, and yeah, he hasn't got a job. Oh yeah, I'm on £50,000 a year. He's earning 25. Levels of change. Blah 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 blah. This is why, in the simplest form, this is why I say to people, when you see folks like this, just move away from them. If you're a man, if you've got a woman like that, because first of all, I always try to simplify things. If somebody doesn't love you for who you are, and I'm not suggesting that you use love as an excuse for not chasing your dreams, but the truth, the reality that I'm addressing about life, not everybody's rich. In fact, there is a higher percentage of people who are average or currently, as you're watching this video, broke. But that doesn't exactly define where they will be next year or the year after. Do you get what I'm saying? So this man, for example, and someone else who has emailed me, I've seen cases of brothers being badly bitten down by women. And it's the same, I don't know, if it was from a man's point of view, imagine if I, as a dude, and because I got money and I'm trying to get with a woman, or she gets in a relationship with me believing that I love her and all that, and I start to, people will call me a misogynist. They will call me all sorts of names in the book. They will say I'm an oppressor. They will say I'm this. They will say I'm a sexist. All the names in the book. But it's okay for women to beat men down and trash them. Even the internet, social media platforms, and you see the odd stories and articles and Instagram videos here and there, and it's the same BS. And the ones I really worry about are the younger ladies who are contemplating on getting into a relationship, because a lot of people are misguided, they're misinformed. What's wrong? I suppose what I'm trying to say is, what's wrong with, if a man hasn't got it that much today, what's wrong with that? Am I missing something? What's wrong with that? There are aspirations, there are plans, but a lot of people leave for now. Now, I'm not advocating that you should get yourself entrapped in poverty, because we've also seen cases of people that married someone because they are well off. There's a difference. It doesn't matter if a man has got money, but you are into that man, not his money, not his career, not his job, not his bank balance. You love him for who he is, right? Because I've seen cases where people married. At the time of the marriage, dude was okay. Dude was calling the shots. Dude was earning good money. But then life happens. Because life happens. The job went, several occurrences happened, finances got depleted. What do you do then? You jump sheep. You run to go and look for the next man who's got money. Which is a very negative cycle of life, if that makes sense. So all I'm saying is, I don't think it's fair for women to label a man as worthless. And also, I think it's beautiful It's emotionally for the benefit of the relationship. It's, in fact, emotionally healthy. And it's good for you as a woman to have earning capability. Oh, you haven't got money to take care of me. This is why in the black community, African community, right, I digress, it's very common where some women come with a mentality, a culture from Africa, because they believe, oh, the man should pay for everything. I've heard women, even if here in the UK, who live in the US and all that stuff, your man earns 30K a year. You are on maybe 27,000 or 28,000. Household income, 58,000 pounds, right? And you believe that the man should pay 80% of the household bill. You know why? Just because he's a man. That's sexist. That's selfish. Whilst you keep your money. I've seen women who rip relationships apart. The whole world would hear that the man is worthless just because they are having to split the bills. Fair and honest people watching this would agree with me. For example, here in the West, it's totally different. You 50-50 the bills. I've heard some women in my comment section that would say stuff about, oh, if I'm having to pay half the bill with a man, then I owe you no degree of respect. No, not about owing him a degree of respect. You don't deserve the man. These are the toxicities that some of our brothers have to deal with, are inflicted with. It's mind blowing. You don't have to accept. You don't have to agree with my views and opinions. I enjoy thinking outside the box, and I'm also aware that we all see things from different perspectives and everyone's got an opinion and stuff, but it's beautiful when a woman gets her own money. And it's also beautiful when you go into a relationship, you're actually into that person. I'm not suggesting that, you shouldn't see that, okay, the person's financially secured and stuff. But if you also, like I said earlier, want to walk away, you're within your rights. But why condemn and point fingers and beat men down, call them worthless? Because he's currently broke, because he's not earning enough. And then 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the line, he's made it up there. So what do you then do? I mean, I also know life is funny how it works. A woman might dump a man because he's broke, and she might move on. Yeah, to go marry someone, be with someone who's got loads of money and all that stuff. And then she can then reference and say, well, boy, I upgraded myself and stuff. That's okay. But as long as you don't label the other person that because he hasn't got money means he's a never to do well type. Anyway, that's me done. What do you think? Let's keep that conversation going on below. As I said, this segment is sponsored by SendWave app. You can send money from the UK, the US, and Canada to Nigeria, Kenya, Ghana, Tanzania, and Uganda. Type in the code Phrankleen and get £10 or $10 off your first transaction. Okay? There is no extra commissions. There are no hidden charges. It's as easy as blinking your eyes. Download the app and follow the registration, which is dead easy. A few slides, you're done within the 2 shakes of a dog's tail. SendWave. It's your boy Phrankleen, and I'll definitely catch you in the next episode. Peace and love. Bye now.